Hey guys, it's Darcy. Welcome back to my channel. And today I am coming at you with my sister. This is Samantha.
Hello.
And she is a freshman in college. I graduated last May when you're watching this. And so I thought it'd be interesting to hear like from her perspective a little bit. So we also are filming a video on her experience going to a women's college. We might film some more potentially if you guys like them, but just thought it'd be interesting because between the two of us we have like a pretty like vast experience of college. I don't know,
College visits.
Yeah, colleges, but just like colleges. Because okay, so if you don't know, if you're new here, I went to the College of William & Mary as a freshman, and then I ended up transferring sophomore year to NYU. So I went to like kind of a medium-sized liberal arts school, and then obviously like a giant urban school, and then you now go to Mount Holyoke.
Small liberal arts school,
and it's a women's college.
It's a women's college,
which is different from like my experience.
In like a rural setting.
Yeah, and you like go to school in the Northeast. I went like in the South, and then like New York City. So between the two of us, we like have a lot of experience on like school sizes and types. And I mean, they're all on the East Coast, so like that's not something that's like super. But anyway. So today we are going to talk about school sizes and kind of all of the implications that come with that, because I think it does like lead into like every type of, you know, experience you get within a school. So stay tuned, keep watching. So when I was at William & Mary, I did actually really like the size. It's about like 8,000 total, I think, which in many ways is ideal because it's not so, well, in my opinion, ideal because it's not so small that like, you know, everyone or like you feel like stifled a little bit versus like, I don't know, it's not also huge that you're like lost in the masses, but NYU is definitely huge. Obviously it's like, I don't even know, like 50,000 maybe or something. I don't know.
Big.
It's so big, and like I didn't personally love that about NYU, but I think like for me the pros did end up outweighing the cons of like the whole school experience. But we can like continue like talking about that. So for you,
yeah,
Mount Holyoke is how big?
It's about 2,000, maybe just over. Each class year is about 500,
which is very small. So that's
it's still like, small, but I don't think like I don't know everyone in my class. I mean, well, I know a large majority of them.
For context, it's smaller than our high school.
Yeah, it's small.
Whereas William & Mary was bigger, which is where I feel like you have small, I have like medium large.
Yeah,
which is where like
I mean,
feel like
we
we're
go
pretty
to a large
qualified.
high school, but still.
Yeah, but we like kind of have like a lot of the experience, as that's what I'm saying. So first, I guess let's talk about like the academics of it. I would say, at least, I don't know, for me, like one of the biggest pros of going to NYU was like the vast array of opportunities. Like you can study like basically anything, because one of the reasons I transferred was William & Mary didn't have like any sort of media program, and I ended up transferring to also study journalism as well as my sociology major. So I think that's where part of NYU is like literally you can study everything, and also the fact that like it's in New York in a big urban space like made a big difference. And there are small schools in New York City, but I think the size of it didn't matter because just like there's just so many like very accomplished people who like are working at the school, like drawn to the school, are alumni. And so I think that's where like the bigger school aspect makes a difference, because like the alumni network and like the faculty network are just, you know, so much more elaborate than, you know, at a smaller school. But obviously there are pros to smaller school too.
I mean, yeah. I do think that there are less like majors and like opportunities in that sense, but there's also, I think, easier access to resources to find internships and experiences. Like there's a whole center at my college that like you can go into saying I want to look for this type of internship, and they can help you through it. And give you lots of opportunities through that. So it's easier to like, it may be harder to get there, but if you have more guidance, I guess. Yeah.
Well, and that's where like, at least with NYU, like you didn't have to like necessarily do that through the school because you had access to like all of New York City, but the resources were still there. You just have to be more proactive. Like I think it does take a certain type of person to be able to thrive in like a massive school like that, because like I'm pretty self-driven and independent, that like I, you know, made my appointments with my advisor, went to the career center independently. But I think if you like want some more of that, like, I don't know, individualized support, small schools make sense. I don't know.
Yeah, because I mean, I get emails even though like I haven't like necessarily gone in because I'm only like a first year, but like I still get emails from like the career center and like the internship place saying like, oh, we have these open office hours. These are meant for first years. This is like a workshop to build your resume. Like, they have all these opportunities that they tell you about rather than you have to go looking for.
Well, and I think NYU, they tell me more than I want. I mean, I still get emails all the time, but it definitely has like a different vibe. Like, it's just very individual, like, not individual, like independent. I don't know. Like, no one's gonna like force you to do anything or like hold your hand kind of in a way. Like, you just have to like know what you want, or like if you need help, like be proactive in a way. Like, I don't know. It's just sort of
different. I think that's still true.
I mean,
just to a different extent.
Yeah, it's just like different overlap, I guess. Or there's some overlap, but like some differences of like the experience. And I definitely think it's like much easier to be like lost in the masses, especially if you're like in a bigger program, because at least the journalism school at NYU is like not massive, so it's like you still feel like you can, like, the advisors like know you and stuff. So that's where it also probably depends. And I think finding like your niche within a bigger school probably helps. So
yeah, because I think at the small school it's just so easy to find your niche. And like, you know, the professors, they know you.
Yeah,
which is one thing I really like.
Yeah, well, you can still have that, but I do think it takes more work at a bigger school. And that's where, I mean, neither of us obviously have experience going to like a big school not in an urban place, but NYU is really interesting because it's in an urban place, that you like have access to like all of the city and you feel like you're living in New York, which for me was a big pro. But I can imagine that like it could be a really big con. Like, it would be so overwhelming to like go to such a big school and to move to New York at once. Like, I got used to college because I like transferred, but like as a freshman, like that was just not even something I was interested in, because it is a lot. But I think, I mean, it gives you so many more opportunities. I don't know, so in that sense it's good. But let's talk about like housing and like stuff, because you always complain about there being one cafeteria.
I mean, that is definitely one of the cons of small schools, is that you most likely have one, maybe two if you're lucky.
Yeah,
but
also just like even like housing options. I don't know, how many dorms are there?
We have actually a lot of dorms. I think there are like 20 maybe.
Really?
That's because like over 95% of students live on campus all 4 years.
So that's different, because I think NYU has something like 20 something too, but they're also probably like way bigger. I mean, like both of the places I live are like full like apartment complexes. Yeah. And then yeah, like I don't know, so many people live off campus.
Yeah, so most people do live on campus, but then there's also like not a lot around outside.
Yeah, so that's one thing that's
and
like
so it's
very
just like
different.
what you would pay for room and board is pretty much equivalent to what you would pay if you got an apartment like close to campus. So people are just like, I might as well just live on campus then, be closer to my friends, be closer to the community.
Right, versus like NYU, the housing is pretty expensive, and like you can find cheaper things elsewhere, but like also you have the safety of the school, and the protection, and then the meal plan, which isn't the greatest thing ever, but better than one cafeteria.
I mean, the other thing with the meal plan, it is unlimited, which I find
but you only have one choice. You like only have unlimited, right?
Yeah,
because like at NYU they do have like a lot of different choices, and so I guess that's just true in general. Like, you have a lot of choices. I mean, you have like so many different areas of the city you can live in, so many different types of meal plans, because some people have like commuter meal plans that you get like one meal a day and like extra, like, you know, just like normal bonus points for like snacks and stuff.
And I do think there is some other meal plan, but it's really hard to get.
Like, you have to have like some sort of exemption or something.
Yeah, like where you have a certain amount of swipes and more dining dollars, but like I don't know how easy or hard it's gonna get. Most people just do the unlimited because just like,
yeah,
you can just go in and out when you need to.
Yeah.
But I mean, housing I don't mind. I mean, I didn't like my first year
I mean,
room as much, but it's just like in general the dorms are really good.
Yeah. Well, and I guess because like they don't have to stuff people in them to the same extent maybe a larger school does, because I know a lot of larger schools like always are running out of housing. And so like my third year, which was also my last year at NYU, like I have such a weird experience. My second housing experience at NYU, I got stuck in like a triple double, which was like crazy. I was like, I cannot. So I ended up like petitioning and like got put somewhere else. But like the fact that they even have that, like 7 girls in like one room, like
that's
like,
crazy.
I mean, it was like 3 rooms connected, but still, like that should not be a thing in my opinion. So
no, like the biggest rooms we have are quads, and like those are more suite style, so like people have their separate rooms,
right,
and,
which
like,
is how
space.
like William and Mary did have, you know, an experience more like that, which was nice.
I mean, something with housing that's nice. I don't know how many large schools have this, but we have what's called living learning communities. So they're like,
I think a lot of schools have that.
but like I think they're a little bit stronger than
maybe
on my campus at least. Like,
yeah, I think most schools have something like that, but I don't know the extent. It probably varies school to school. Like, the extent that that's like actually enforced or like practiced.
Yeah, that's definitely something. At least at Mount Holyoke, that is it like something that people will do. And it's just like a floor, and it's a good sense of community, and people like actually do the activities on their floor that they have, depending on what the floor is like designated as.
So then certainly one other thing that makes a big difference is like social life on, you know, small versus large campuses. And I think social life in college is hard in general, but that could also just be my personal experience, because certainly some friends I know like have made like really close friends in college, but and you're still only a freshman, so sometimes it's like kind of hard to tell. But
yeah,
at least for me, I found like being in a big school like NYU, like it was hard to make close connections, but I think that was partly that like it was such a big city, so it felt like the city is your campus, as they say. And so it's like, I don't know, everyone's just busy and all of that. But then at William and Mary, I felt like if you weren't a specific type of person, it was hard to like kind of fit in. Like I felt like there was just like a few different like types of people. Like there was like the sorority girls, like the religious people, the like, I don't know, conservative people, and the like liberal people. And I don't know, I just like didn't feel like I fit in somewhere, kind of, because I was like on the more creative side, and like I don't know. So that's where I think smaller schools sometimes can feel more limited in the social interaction, because you don't have like every single type of person ever. Like at NYU I felt that way, like that there was just anyone.
I mean, I can understand that. I think you just kind of have to find your niche. And like find your people, which I mean I'm still going through.
But there's only limited niche options apparently.
Yeah,
like, to a certain extent at a smaller school.
Yeah,
not saying that's a bad thing, because if you fit in one of those niches, you like will be very successful socially.
Yeah, I mean, and there also tends not to be sororities, or if they do, there's maybe 1, 2. Like I know Mount Holyoke, we don't have sororities.
And NYU does technically have sororities, but they're like different. It's not really the same. And so, that's where it's not like the defining social aspect of like the campus.
So I mean, that's definitely not the social aspect. People like if they play sports, they tend to like become really close friends with their teammates.
Oh yeah, that was true at William and Mary too. That there's like the athlete types.
But there was definitely people who grouped together. But like, I think that's going to be true at any school. You just kind of have to find.
But it might be easier to like know people, like you feel like you know a lot of people, and like have like that support network, where at like a school like NYU that's just not gonna be the case. Like because I had friends who I'd like never see on campus kind of thing, or
that's like
you would have a class with someone once and like never see them again, so it's very different.
You definitely see people all the time. Like I see people from classes from like last semester on campus, and like we still recognize each other, so
which I do like that, because I felt like that more like at William and Mary. I think that's where it's nice to have sort of that in the middle, versus NYU was just like massive. So then I think one thing though, like, so you were talking about internships earlier. Where are the internships?
I don't know that much about it, because I haven't really started thinking about internships yet. But they tend to do like summer internships, and they can be like anywhere really. Okay. Like they're all over the place. Because
that's one thing where
they have
like
funding that they give to each student to do internships. Okay. And so like you can use it for housing if it's an unpaid internship, or like other like funds depending on what the internship is. So people will go abroad sometimes people will go all across like the US. So
it's nice that they still have those connections. But I do feel like for me, like one of the biggest pros of NYU was that, like I was saying earlier, that there was just like so many opportunities, just like with living in the city as well as being like an NYU person. I mean, just like the NYU name power in the city, and like I got an internship like on my own my last year of school, third year, last year, senior year, whatever you want to call it. like independently of the school. Like I didn't take it for credit or like anything, but also like the school has like so many endless like internship lists, and like that's where like almost there's pressure on you because you're in New York that you can like do so many things. But the fact is like you want to like utilize opportunities, so I think that's for me like one of the bigger pros that comes with like a larger school, which obviously like small schools have too, but just like
I think it's also the timeline of when you want to do the internship. I think it'd be really difficult if you want to do one during the academic year.
Yeah,
because
I did mine during the fall.
Yeah, you can't really, I mean there's some opportunities potentially. You might have to work in like a professor's lab or something.
Yeah, but it's not really.
But it's not really an internship, or it's not the same.
Right, so that's really you're like, limited to the opportunities.
It's more during the summer
on campus,
or like maybe during like your winter break because it's like a whole month. Like you might be able to do like a short internship, but it's harder if you want to do one during like the fall semester.
Right. So that's where you're really limited to like what's available like on campus or like around campus, which there's not much around campus versus like.
Yes, I mean that is a limiting factor, but like for me, that's not a big like disadvantage.
Right, because they have what you're interested in.
Yeah.
So one other thing I guess would be just kind of like talking about the idea of do like smaller schools like help, I don't know, students more, like I don't know if students better. Definitely NYU like probably not so much. I mean I talk about this like, or I have talked about this a lot, how like the administration feels like very distant and I don't know, questionable sometimes. So I don't always feel like they're connected to the student body.
I mean, I think at smaller schools, the administration is more connected.
I would think so.
Like, depending on the issue, obviously they're not, it's gonna be that simple, but it's easy to make your voice heard and like work towards change.
I think at NYU you need to be part of like student government or something, which is an option, but like not everyone can be part of student government obviously. And
yeah,
so, and like when I worked at the Washington Square News, which was like the independent, well it is the independent newspaper, like I mean there was just, we talked so much about like the, you know, the people in power and like what they were doing, and that wasn't always in line with like the student body's interests and like values. And so that's not to say like every small or every large school is like that, but I do
or
think
even every
harder.
Small schools in my experience, like,
right, yeah, it goes both ways, but I do think in general when there's so many people it's hard to like serve the interests of everyone, but also like hard to know the interests of everyone because they're all just like so different and everyone's just doing their thing a little bit.
Yeah, I think also just like even in classes at small schools, because they're such small like groups of people, like my largest class was like 50 people for like an intro class.
Right, so it's just easier.
And so it's easier also to get relationships with the professors and for them to know like what you need and what you both listen to them what you need, but also just like going to the office hours, like you don't have to be like, oh hi, I'm from this class. It's like they know who you are.
Yeah.
Which I mean,
and
like
that's
if you're
true at bigger schools when you get to higher level classes,
but like in an intro level class you don't get that
as much. But I will say that NYU does, like pretty much every big class I took at least had smaller breakout, like you had recitations, and so your recitation leader would know you at least.
Okay.
So it's not quite the same.
Yeah, because like we don't have TAs.
Versus like most big classes have like TAs at NYU. I mean some of them have like 5 TAs, so.
Like you sometimes will have like an assistant to the class or like a writing mentor if the professor wants that to help you like build up the college level of writing or thinking, but they never are there teaching the class. They're more as like an outside aid if you need that.
But I will say that like my major classes, like my professors knew me then because those were smaller classes, so that's where it's like you can't say that there aren't any smaller classes, because I mean like my journalism classes for my major besides the first one were all like 12 people. And my sociology classes were like 30 people. My capstone was like 10 people. So you can still get those smaller classes too, but certainly like the big intro like and gen ed classes are obviously like way bigger and you don't have like the same rapport. But also like if they're just gen eds you might not just like care as much.
It depends what you want, really.
Yeah.
Like I know I want small classes like no matter what, not like, even like I wanted it from the beginning, not when I got to the upper levels. Like yes, I still want it then, but like I wanted it throughout my education. Because I didn't want to just be like a number in the classroom. Yeah. Versus you do feel like that a little bit more with like some of those gen eds, but also you don't have the same gen ed requirements it seems like, which is so nice. I'm so jealous. Because NYU does have like the core for CAS, at least the College of Arts and Sciences, where like everyone has to take like a lot of gen eds. So Yeah, I mean, that's going to vary from school to school.
It
just
is.
like,
but I feel
my
like that's,
school,
I mean, because William and Mary, they were less stringent, so I don't know.
they just want you to explore different things.
Yeah, because that's how I found sociology when I was a freshman, was like through taking a sort of more like freshman seminar type class, but you had like a lot of options, I would say. And I wasn't a freshman at NYU, so I can't like completely compare, but I think it was, there's some similarities, but I do think in general the NYU requirements were more stringent. Like they literally had whole like classes that were devoted to the core, versus at William & Mary it wasn't like that. It was like there were classes that were sort of for the gen eds, but like they were on like interesting topics. I don't know. So it's again gonna differ school to school. So I guess if you're watching this and trying to figure out like what school size is right for you, definitely like think about like academics and social experience, like what you want to get out of your college experience. And it can be hard to know. I messed up the first time, and still even the second time didn't love everything about it. So I don't think there's like a perfect answer or perfect fit, but definitely going to a small school is a lot different than going to a giant school. Like for me, I knew going to like a super small school wasn't the move, but I mean, we both went to the same high school, and then like for her it is the right move. So
So I mean, also just look at your high school experience, and do you wish you had bigger classes, or do you like the size of the classes, and is that something you want?
Yeah, that's a good comparison. Yeah,
because I mean, depending on the size of your high school, that's going to be different, but like
right, but like what you're, I mean, going from what you're used to, because I mean certainly going from high school to college is like a big transition. So,
yeah, it definitely is a big transition.
So that like does affect, like if you're used to like really small classes, going directly to like a 5,000 or 50,000 person school might be like a lot. But maybe you don't want like just like a super small school either. But I do feel like there's not enough in between schools. Like there's a lot of schools that are like under like 5,000, and a lot of schools that are over like 20,000, but there's not like a ton in that like middle range. Yeah. Whereas like, because I do think William & Mary was a good size. Like I could see like 8,000 to like 18,000 being like a nice middle ground, and I feel like there's not enough schools like that. So I don't know, that's just my opinion. Certainly going to college just makes a big difference too, to like get the feel of things. And
I mean, even on campus tours at like the larger schools, your group is huge.
Yeah.
But on smaller, like at the small schools I visited, most of the time it was either an individual tour or there's like 2 other students with me. So it was like a really small group.
Yeah.
It's like, how do you feel in that context?
Right. Where like I was kind of like, I don't know about those, like, but then you like that individualized experience. So that's the D. Yeah. Hopefully that helps. Definitely comment below questions if you come up with them for anything that we didn't talk about, and subscribe to my channel if you're not already, because we might make more videos like this. I still, even though now I've graduated, I do still like talk about college stuff sometimes, and I have a ton of playlists talking about my experience transferring and going to NYU, so you should definitely check it out if you haven't. And that's it. Yeah, thanks for being on my channel. Yeah, all right, bye.